Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Drafted Up podcast. It's Thursday, so you know that means we're doing week eight previews. Twitter, X, at Drafted Up _pod. You guys know that. Apple, YouTube, Spotify. Search Drafted Up podcast. Like, rate, subscribe, review. Tell a friend. Tell a stranger. If they're offering you candy in the van, tell them to listen to the podcast in return for that candy. That's Nick. I'm Theo. How you doing?
Doing good. Ready for this Thursday night game. I'm very, very excited to see these guys back out there for the Rams, and then I think it's going to be a good week of football for sure.
Yeah, it's always good when the Thursday game's actually a good game on paper. They're
for sure
few and far between.
Two teams that I think have a lot of talent, and one of them is very good record-wise, and I think the Rams are better than their record, so I think it's going to be a battle.
Rams are getting Puka Nacua back. We didn't bring that up on the Tuesday podcast because he got activated off IR before his window was open, after we recorded, so it never came up. We didn't even think he was going to play, but he's going to play. I expect him to be on a snap count. Can't really give you guys start advice because by the time you listen to this, the game will be on. But I would play him if I had to, but I would try not to.
Yeah, I would try to find my way out of Puka tonight, but I'm very interested to see what kind of reps he's running. Is he in for blocking plays and that's it? No routes? We'll see what they're doing with him, but I think he's going to be on a snap count for sure.
Yeah, and Jordan Whittington also out, but I think that more's towards Cooper Kupp because they played the similar role there. And then the rumors started swirling Tuesday after we recorded that Sam Darnold and Matt Stafford, there could be a trade between the Vikings and Rams. Stafford goes to Minnesota, Darnold goes to the Rams, and they lock him up long term. Apparently that's something they're interested in. Stafford's towards the end of his career. So it makes sense because, it gets the Vikings, who are a competitive team, a experienced quarterback with playoffs and whatnot when it matters, where Darnold doesn't have that. And it gets Darnold a long-term deal, which he likely doesn't get in Minnesota because of J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I think at most Darnold would get another year in Minnesota just to see if JJ's healthy. So I think at most he's starting half the season next year for you guys, to where he can go to LA and get that bag, baby. So go get paid for him. Stafford has a legitimate chance to take you guys deep into the playoffs. We've seen him do it with the McVay system already with LA. Him and Jefferson, dude, even Addison, dude, I think those guys would shine with Matt Stafford.
And Hawkinson's on his way back. So
I'm very excited for
the Vikings
Hopkins
aren't going to be hurt fantasy-wise with Matt Stafford.
I think you guys would be a little bit better, to be honest. I think Jefferson would have a chance to be wide receiver 1 with Stafford in the back end of the season.
We'll see. I'm indifferent. I don't necessarily want to fudge around with chemistry midway through the season, especially at quarterback, but Kevin O'Connell did coach Matt Stafford. He was on the team that won the Super Bowl. So it does make sense. If it's going to happen, quarterback change midseason, this one makes the most sense.
Yeah. Stafford wouldn't be adjusting too much. He's learning the system because he knows the system. I think it would be a really good trade for both teams. Darnold gets that bag. Stafford gets a chance to win again. So lock it up, baby.
It really does end up coming down to today's games. If Minnesota wins, the Rams are going to be 2-5, likely looking towards the future. There's also rumors they might trade Cooper Kupp if teams are willing to give up a second. So it makes sense. If they do lose this game and Sam Darnold plays well, it's going to make him look better for them going forward. So it's kind of like the Matt Stafford Bowl here today, Thursday. But that's enough about this game. Let's move on to starts of the week. At quarterback, my start of the week is Caleb Williams against the Washington Commanders. The Commanders' defense has been pretty bad this year, though last week they looked much better than they had. But Caleb Williams has progressively got better every week. He's playing really good. He's actually, the last 2 weeks, has outscored Jaden Daniels in fantasy points in regular scoring. So look for Caleb to continue that off the bye, rest up. I expect a big game here as Caleb Williams continues to grow as a franchise quarterback.
Hell yeah, dude. Caleb Williams looked so good the last couple weeks, and Washington's defense did look better last week versus the pass. But I think Caleb Williams has a chance to go up there and rip up the Commanders' defense. Man, I really hope Jaden Daniels plays, though, so we get the 1-2 overall picks battling out in this game, dude. It has a chance to be a really, really good game. My start of the week, we got Jordan Love versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville, you can pass happy, dude. And Jordan Love's touchdowns the last couple of weeks, it's been 4-2, 4-3. Even week 1 he had 2 touchdowns. So every week he's played, he's put up multiple touchdowns.
He's on pace for like 40 touchdowns. Machine.
Yeah, dude, he's on pace for so many. I'm willing to say he gets the 2 mark again at the 4, and the 4 is the ceiling. So, and versus Jacksonville, that defense is susceptible. Hard words. Good God, very susceptible for Jordan Love to be QB1 on the week. So
yeah,
I'm all in on Green Bay this week. Start him
like Lamar's obviously quarterback 1 every week just because of how good he's been. But like, if you would say like, hey, Jordan Love's my QB1 this week, I'd be like, okay, I get it. It's a prime matchup there for him. And I'm going to piggyback off that. I'm going to jump to receiver real quick. And I'm going with Romeo Doubs in that matchup.
Ooh. All right.
I do like Jaden Reed, but like Jaden Reed's banged up. Christian Watson's always banged up. Datavian Wicks is banged up. Romeo Doubs, healthy every week except the week he threw a tantrum and he didn't play. But he's running the most routes. He's getting the most targets of late. You could confidently play him. If he gets a touchdown, like he has a decent ceiling. Like his floor is good. Like he's a good floor play. He's going to get 8 targets. He should get 4 to 5 catches, 50 some yards. If he adds a touchdown on that, it's a great week. I like Dobbs this week. Sure. I expect him to get into the end zone. He's been the guy. Jordan Love loves him, but I expect the Packers to blow up. You can confidently start him, Jaden Reed, and if you want to feel frisky, take your shot on Wicks or Watson. But I think Dobbs is going to be the wide receiver 1 this week for that team.
I kind of see that. I think he's going to get peppered with targets this week, dude, and I think he's in for a big week. I'll just jump to my receiver. My receiver is a guy you were not high on the Tuesday episode going forward for the rest of the year. So I'm almost just picking it out of spite, but my start of the week is Devonta Smith. They're going up against Cincinnati, so there's a real chance this game's just a shootout for all the receivers. Brown, Smith, Higgins, Chase, even Barkley. All these guys are going to have a chance to get in the end zone. Like, there should be touchdowns to go around in this game. The 2 games with Brown, Devonta Smith has had 84 yards and 64 yards, a touchdown in one of those games, and that was 2 weeks ago. So, Smith, I have no worries that he's going to get back on pace to be a wide receiver too. He's theoretically on pace per game. He's going to finish there. But Cincinnati's a great matchup. I would start the Eagles. It's the same situation as Green Bay. Start them all.
I'm fine with Smith this week because it doesn't look like Dallas Goedert's playing. And when Dallas Goedert's not out there, Devonta Smith
is way
shines.
Better.
Yeah, because then then you can focus on him, and AJ Brown still gets his stuff. I almost called him Antonio Brown. But start of the week at running back, I am going with J.K. Dobbins against New Orleans. Spoiler, your running back destroyed New Orleans last week. Tampa Bay running backs put up almost 200 yards on New Orleans. Saquon Barkley had a ton of yards on New Orleans. J.K. Dobbins didn't look great against Arizona, who's bad against the run. This is a bounce back game for him. New Orleans can't stop the run. The defense is old. The team's not playing good. The Chargers can this is the kind of game they want to play. They can get an early lead and just run and wear this team out. Big game for J.K. Dobbins this week.
Hell yeah, dude. JK's in line for a huge week. I love that. You gave a little preview of my guy. He had his first 2 touchdowns of the year last week versus New Orleans. 88 yards, almost 7 a clip. It's Javonte Williams. Versus Carolina, the number 1 rushing defense, like worse, the 32nd, so I went opposite. They're the worst rushing defense in football, and Denver is relying on Javonte the last 3 games out of the last 4. He's been averaging over 5 a clip. The dude's going to get in the end zone, I think, again, maybe even twice. So I think Andre Estime is really the only worry for carries behind him.
Every time he gets a run.
Exactly. He's having a real Tank Bigsby kind of year. So he's touching the rock, he's dropping it. So it's going to be Javonte versus Carolina. He's going to be running a ton. Him and Bo Nix are going to be over 150 rushing yards. I'm going to say both those guys together.
Yeah. Javonte was originally my pick, and you brought it up. I'm like, I have J.K. Dobbins in the holster as a backup, so we're good to go there. Final one, tight end. I am going with Sam Laporta against Tennessee. No Jameson Williams.
Bold.
Someone needs to step up in that role.
Oh, okay. I like that.
I am putting the confidence bet in Sam Laporta. You drafted him. He's tight end 1 or 2 in most leagues. He hasn't lived up to that. He's been bad this year. Like, Detroit's offense is incredible, so there's no funneling to him just with Amon-Ra because Jameson Williams has stepped up. Gibbs and Montgomery still dominating touches there. So there's more to go around, a lot of mouths to feed. No Jameson Williams. I think they're going to need Sam Laporta to step up. Tennessee's an easy matchup. I expect a touchdown this week from Sam Laporta. He needs it. He needs a big bounce back game. I'm putting the confidence in to play him this week.
I dig that a lot. It's kind of like their offense might revert to last season's offense these next two games, where it is Amon-Ra and Laporta in the passing games because Javante's literally not there. It's not even that they're like not using him. That's what I meant. Jameson Williams, he's just suspended. So it sucks that he's not going to be there the next two games. But I really do think Laporta's targets are going to shoot up through the roof without him there. My start of the week at tight end is a guy that also has been eating up targets the last 2 weeks, 10 last week, 6 the week before. And he is down both their number one and number two receivers, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, out. So K-Dot in my start of the week at tight end. He finished his tight end 5 last week. He had 8 for 100. I think that he's in line for that again. And maybe even the touchdowns because Mike Evans is not there. So he's got a rookie receiver on one side, an unproven second-year receiver on the other side. Who's Baker throwing the ball to? I think it's going to be K-Dot. So him and White are going to be eating up passes in that offense.
That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Hey, man, he's been tight end 5, 8, and 7 on the year. So I think he has a chance to do it again.
When you told me K-Dot was your start of the week, I'm just like, sweet, I can get a dodgeball reference in there because, see Cotton there. And I'm just like, all right, hell yeah, it's a bold strategy, baby. But no, I love that. The targets, I do think it's going to be more White and Otten than McMillan, Shepard, and Palmer.
I think McMillan's has a chance to be really good without Evans and Godwin out there. I happen to fall into him in our home league. And I picked up K-Dot in last week in start of Jake Ferguson, and I just didn't cut him. I kept him. I'm like, I'm not going to let this guy hit the market for someone else to scoop up. So I'm riding K-Dot on my bench because I got Jake Ferguson. I got to start Ferg Daddy.
Biscuit.
So
biscuit, baby.
Bad
all right,
matchup versus San Fran, but I would go for Jake Ferguson for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's start week 8. Sam Laporta, I brought him up. Tennessee at Detroit. The Titans are 11.5-point underdogs on the road and over under a 45. So we're looking at a 30 spot here for the Lions in implied point totals. Tennessee, though, low key, great defense.
Oh, okay. But that I didn't know where you were going with this.
A bit abysmal. No, I'm not. No upset. Maybe they cover, but I don't even think they do. I wouldn't want to bet them again? Covering that 11.5.
Oh, that's such a crazy line, but I'm willing to say they don't cover that.
Yeah, it's tough, but their defense is really good. Like, Tennessee's a bad football team, but like they have a great defense, so they can get the offense figured out. And they traded a piece of that offense, so the offense didn't get any better. DeAndre Hopkins is now in Kansas City. We didn't bring that up at the beginning because we were going to bring it up during the Kansas City game, but might as well start it here because Tennessee, we're talking them. So Calvin Ridley, who has the most targets in the NFL the last 2 weeks, at almost 20. All of them have been terrible targets.
Yeah, how many catches does he have, though?
2? 1? I don't know.
3. He's got 3.
It's bad. Like, Tony Pollard is the only viable piece of this offense right now. But if I am a Calvin Ridley owner, I'm stashing him. Detroit is a good matchup in terms of receivers and fantasy points because, you got to pass a ton to beat Detroit. So if you're in a real desperate spot, throw Calvin Ridley in there. I wouldn't. I don't even want to start Tony Pollard this week. Detroit, great against the run, but he might catch passes this week. I actually shipped off Tony Pollard in our home league on Tuesday. I shipped him and Khalil Shakir and got Amari Cooper.
I didn't even see that. So
you haven't seen it? I've made 2 moves. I traded Marvin Harrison as well for James Conner and Michael Pittman.
Oh, that's a good trade. What the heck?
Yeah, I've been wheeling and dealing, baby. But Ridley in desperation, I'd play him just because it's a good matchup. I wouldn't feel confident in it. Pollard, opposite approach. I'm not confident in it in a bad matchup, but I'm probably playing him because running backs are probably desperate need. He's been an RB2 all year.
Yeah, you got to start Pollard. If you have him, you have him to start. So it's not going to be fun. I can tell you that much. But I think he's safe to get 4 to 5 catches, and those are just free points in PPR.
Mm-hmm.
So you're pretty confident to start him in a PPR league.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping for Pollard. And then from Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to start Amon-Ra. I'm in on Laporta this week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd start Jared Goff just because defense, this could be a run game, and Jared Goff could have 1 touchdown.
Yeah, but he's flexible this week if you have a better matchup for sure.
Yeah, I'd probably have him as like a low end QB1, like QB 12 through 15 is where I'm putting Goff.
Yeah, I think his ceiling's like 10 or 11 this week.
Yeah. And then you're obviously starting David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, 100%. But be wary, Tennessee really good against the run.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a low end game for them, but I don't see any way Detroit loses this game.
No, if they do, it's because they beat themselves. That's the only way Detroit loses this. I think they're coming off high beating Minnesota last week where they just keep the momentum and they just roll right through Tennessee, dude.
Mason Rudolph playing? I haven't heard anything on who the quarterback is this week. Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's in line to start, so.
I'd rather Will Levis against Detroit. At least he can throw the ball downfield. I don't know if Mason Rudolph can. I think they'd have a better shot with Levis.
Yeah, so Will Levis is still limited in practice, but he is quoted as improving. So there's a chance he's out there, but I would still lean towards Mason Rudolph out there on Sunday.
Be wary, your Lions players could underperform this week just because bad team. They probably don't have to score a ton of points to win. Yeah. Like they could win this game 17-0. We're both picking Detroit, though. Moving on.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Baltimore on the road against Cleveland, the Browns. The Ravens are 8.5-point road favorites, 44, an over-under of 44.5. You're obviously starting Lamar Jackson. You're starting Derrick Henry. Lock him in.
Yes,
you're starting Mark Andrews. I think he's a lock again.
King Henry. I agree, dude.
He's healthy.
I think Mark Andrews
he's been great the last few weeks.
Yeah, he's almost a lock just for the foreseeable future, just because the last 3 weeks, 5-4-4 target-wise, and he's almost brought in all of those, and he's had 3 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. So 2 last week, 1 the week before. I'm starting Mark Andrews.
And then Baltimore, the other question is Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, good matchup.
Yeah,
I would start Flowers for sure. He's a flex guy.
Yeah.
Again, I still fall into Zay Flowers. If he's in a good matchup, you should play him, despite last week. Rashad Bateman, I would be willing to take a shot. I would start Rashad Bateman over Calvin Ridley to go to the last game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Bateman over Ridley for sure. The last 3 weeks has been 15, 11, and 27 last week. Huge week last week for Tampa.
Yeah, they're stretching.
And he's been doing it all. It's all on 4 catches, too. So he's really consistent on the 4 catches mark. But I think the targets could be there this week versus Cleveland. So
that's
I would
more
lock
than
in
Jordan
Bateman.
Addison.
That is true. He's been 3
every
games,
game. Addison's had 3. Yeah,
consistency, baby.
Yeah. Then from Cleveland, David Njoku.
Yes, sir.
Super flex. If you're in a super flex league, I think Winston's a good play. Baltimore gives it up in the passing game. Baker had a ton of stuff. I wouldn't start Winston in a 1 QB league, but if you're in a 2 QB league super flex, I'm actually starting Jameis Winston in our dynasty league this week in another one because I have Jaden Daniels. He might not play, and then my only other quarterback is Justin Fields, I believe, and he's benched now. So here I am. Oh no, it's Tua. It's Tua. So I could play Tua. I have Tua, but I'm gonna go with Winston just because I don't know what Tua's gonna look like his first week back.
That makes sense. If Jaden Daniels plays, you sliding him in?
No, with a rib injury, one hit from a defender, he could be out. That's a tricky one. So I'm weary on putting Daniels. I'm going to just roll with Jameis and hope he has 4 touchdowns to those 3 interceptions.
I was going to say he's going to finish with 3-3 this game. That's what's going to happen. He's got 3 tutties, 3 picks. Classic Winston, baby boy.
Do you fuck around with it? No. I'm going to continue to monitor him, but
it's a tough run defense for sure.
Yeah, he was only averaging 2 yards a carry. He was saved by that touchdown. This isn't the week for Nick Chubb yet. I'd continue to monitor him, but I was going to ask you to fuck around with Cedric Tillman. 12 targets. Baltimore's really bad against the pass.
I don't think I'm willing to pull the trigger yet on Tillman. I would be comfortable for sure stashing him and then just hope. I'm comfortable with him on my bench going off. I'd be
Tillman,
cool with that.
Tillman or Rashad Bateman?
Bateman. It's been more consistent,
I'd go Bateman too.
Longer.
Tillman or Ridley?
Oh, man. Tillman. Ridley's been bad.
Tillman or Michael Pittman?
Pittman. Ugh.
Okay.
I forgot Richardson's playing.
Richardson played last week, and Pittman was a wide
Pittman.
receiver
Yeah,
too.
give me Pittman.
I agree with you. I would start Tillman over Ridley and not the other two. I agree.
You got James Conner and Pittman for Marv?
Yeah, it was offered to me. So originally the trade I offered
that's a good trade.
Was Marv and Jaden Reed and Khalil Shakir for Breece Hall and
big
James Conner. And he countered back with a deadline. He countered back like, this trade expires in 15 hours. And there was a little bomb countdown, which I didn't know was a thing on Sleeper.
Fucking tick, motherfucker.
And it was me giving up Harrison for Conner and Pittman. I didn't want to do a 2-for-1 because I didn't have anyone to cut. So that's when I started sending out other flyers, and I got a 2-for-1, got Amari Cooper, opened up a roster spot that I could do that trade as well.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Two key
I was wheeling
additions,
and dealing Tuesday or Wednesday at work. We're both picking Baltimore here, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Next up, Green Bay at Jacksonville. Packers 4-point road favorites, over under of 49. You love to see that. Jordan Love, your start of the week. Romeo Dobbs, my start of the week. I also like Jaden Reed.
Yeah, for sure.
And then if you really want to take a shot, Watson and Wicks. Would you start Tillman over both those guys, or would you start both them over Cedric Tillman?
I think I'd be comfortable starting Wicks over Tillman, not Watson. Watson burns people a lot, dude.
Okay.
I would trust Wicks just a little bit more, but they're all very close in the same boat.
All right. Would you start Ridley over any of them too?
No.
I'm trying to find.
I think those
Ridley
guys have
line.
a better.
I don't think.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah. We'll try to find the Ridley line today, so we'll get there.
He's our new guy. It's usually the Pittman line, but now it's the Calvin Ridley line.
Let's just shoot over to the other side. Christian Kirk or Ridley.
I would start Ridley.
I agree.
He's the guy. Brian Thomas Jr. He's a stud. So and then Evan Ingram's back. Christian Kirk's almost non-existent in this offense anymore.
I agree. It's been like six points the last 2 weeks, so 3 last week, so it wasn't even 6. Yeah. I would go Ridley over Kirk.
Yeah. Josh Jacobs, Jacksonville really bad against the run. You brought that up last week. You're going to start Josh Jacobs. Yep. And Tucker Kraft as well. I'd be starting
for sure.
All my Packers.
Yep. I agree.
And then Jacksonville, it's pretty much for me, whichever running back's in, Brian Thomas Jr. and Evan Ingram. I'd probably even be willing, if Travis Etienne played, I'd still be willing to flex Tank Bigsby.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. Etienne's still limited all through practice, so even if he plays, he's not a full go.
Yeah. I think
it's going to be a split backfield
plays.
the rest of the year. I agree. So regardless, Bigsby's playing regardless of Etienne, but if Etienne does end up playing, you could probably flex him.
I would probably start Bigsby over Etienne, even if Etienne played. At least this week.
Yep, for sure. This week, I agree. I think Bigsby's momentum is going to carry him through this week for sure.
Trevor Lawrence, not a streaming option this week. I'm not really feeling it.
There's too many decent streaming options out there.
No buys this week, so it really limits your chance for this guys who you could play, but no to Trevor Lawrence.
I'm
going. You going Green Bay here?
Yeah, for sure. I think Green Bay's gonna be real dominant.
I think they cover 4-point spread.
Also, we can't forget that Jacksonville's been in London for the last 2 weeks, and they're coming back to no bye weeks. They played London, Green Bay.
Yeah, they're
that shit's
Jaguars,
insane, dude. So I think this game has a real chance to Green Bay mud stomps them, dude.
Green Bay might be
London games to come back.
Play. Green Bay's defense might be Jacksonville could score, but coming off the London stuff 2 weeks in a row, flying in, having to play, resettling your body, your time clock.
2 weeks, brother.
Yeah, thankfully for them, it's a home game. Imagine if they would have had to go on the road
to Green Bay, dude. Good God,
brutal.
Have fun.
But pretty much for Jacksonville, it's their main pieces for me: BTJ, Evan Ingram, Tank Bigsby.
Yep,
and Etienne if he's in, but I'd lean Bigsby. All right. Indianapolis travels to Houston to take on the Texans. Texans are 5-point home favorites, over under of 45.5 points. Here we go. Josh Downs or Calvin Ridley? Downs had like one catch last week.
Ridley.
I agree, and I think that's like the close. Like I think Downs has upside.
I have Downs in our home league, and I can't start him because of Richardson. Richardson's ruined my life, dude. It's embarrassing. It's so I know. Zero nice things to say about that guy. You know how I feel.
Yes, you despise Anthony Richardson. I'm in our other dynasty league that I have Jaden Daniels, ours that we run. I'm starting Anthony Richardson this week over Jaden Daniels, and then my other quarterback options are Bo Nix and Drake May. So I'm rolling with Richardson, hoping it's just a high scoring game and he runs a ton. Like they were doing a lot of design runs with him last week, which I like to see because that's where he's going to get his fantasy value from. Because it's not going to be from the passing game because he's not a consistent passer. He's still a 50% passer. You can't rely on that, but you can rely on those legs.
Yeah, his legs are what's going to keep him any type of relevant. So he, in my eyes, he really has to up those numbers for me to even consider playing him. So.
Yeah, and then Michael Pittman, 5 targets the last 2 weeks, 3 catches for 63 yards last week. So not a terrible game, not a great game, but it's good to see that Richardson's using him as well. Because like early on, like it wasn't like Richardson
bad.
wasn't.
It was bad.
Like he was getting just like 8 targets and he was only bringing in 4 of them. Like it was stuff you didn't want to see. But I think Pittman's a fine flex. But again, low expectations. But I think this is going to be a high scoring game. I think
you hope.
I think Richardson, they're going to run him more. I think that's how, if they're going to want to win games, that's how they're going to do it because they're not going to do it consistently through the air. Houston, I am a little worried about CJ Stroud. He's been not great without Nico Collins, but Indy, really bad pass defense. So I am starting him. And then I'm starting all their web. Like, it's really Tank Dell. Tank Dell or Calvin Ridley?
Give me Tank Dell. I've seen the ceiling of Tank Dell 2 weeks ago. He had 18 points without Nico. So he's 50-50. One huge game without Nico and one absolutely horrendous game. But it's a green matchup this week. So there's a better chance that it's a boom. There's a better boom chance with Tank Dell this week. Last week for Green Bay is a rough matchup. If
Tank Dell doesn't hit this week, I think we can move on from him. Yep. I think this is it for him. This is the, flag's yellow now.
I'm not going to lie to you. I just told you to cut him, but I probably won't cut him in our home week. He's too talented, dude.
I would also keep, like, I have no problem, but he becomes cuttable. Like, if there's you need a player, like, quarterback buys are coming up and you need to pick up a quarterback and you don't want to drop CJ Stroud or Josh Allen, obviously. I would drop Tank Dell and pick up a quarterback for a week.
Yeah, see, thankfully I'm sitting pretty where my onesies being Jalen Hurts and Jake Ferguson, they've already had their buys. And Cooper Kupp's coming back. I got Jalen McMillan off waivers. I got Demario Douglas 2 weeks ago off waivers. So I'm sitting decent with guys on my bench. So, like, I would keep Tank Dell just as stash.
Yeah. No, don't show Joe Mixon. Obviously, he's a lock and loaded guy. You don't take him out of your lineup week, baby. All. He's been great.
Phenomenal.
Indy run game. I don't know if I'm going to fuck around with Tyler Goodson. Maybe Jonathan Taylor if he's back. You're going to put him in if he's back. If Jonathan Taylor plays, he's in your lineup, obviously. But if he doesn't play, I'm not going with Goodson or Sermon.
Taylor logged a full practice today, so he's in line to play. So
because that'll come a long way for that offense.
Richardson needs Taylor back on that field, dude.
Yeah. All right. Taking Houston though.
I'm also going Houston.
Yep. All right. Here's a good one. The New York Jets travel to New England to take on the Patriots. The Jets are 7-point road favorites. Over under
now,
41.
Pull New England not covering. On the bet. No,
they're not covering.
They're not.
I think they win. I do think the Jets win this game, but it's not going to be more than 3 points. Oh, you picking the Patriots? You picking the soft-ass Patriots as Jared Mayo?
I really like Drake May, dude.
I love Drake May, but I don't love Jared Mayo.
I'm pulling the trigger on New York this week. They need the win. Like if they don't get this win, it's imploded at this point in New York.
They could trade for Cooper Kupp. He'll fix the problem. That's what they need.
That is true. They need another receiver, I hear.
They don't have a flex guy. They don't have a slot guy. They got two outside receivers. They need a slot guy.
That's true.
Cooper Kupp will fix this, and then they'll be winning.
Another receiver. Just slap another Band-Aid on the problem, baby.
Yeah, you're gonna start Devontae Adams. Obviously, you're gonna start Garrett Wilson. You're gonna start Breece Hall. I'm not fucking around with Rodgers. Not this week. Rodgers is a streamable guy down the line, but with no buys this week, I'm sticking with other guys than Aaron Rodgers. He's like QB 15 on the year though, so like he's fine, but not this week. New England's got a half decent defense.
I was gonna say New England has a way better defense than statistically speaking. Like their defense plays hard, and I think this is gonna be a real defense game. What'd you say the over under was?
41.
It's shooting the under.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be like 13-10.
I think the Patriots cover.
I agree. 13-10 would be my prediction for this game. So 23 points with New England covering for sure.
Anyone worth starting in New England?
Ramondre, if you have to.
Yeah, like he hasn't been great. He's been banged up.
No, he's been bad.
Yeah, like he had he started hot, and then the ankle injury.
Hunter Henry.
There we go. Yep.
Hunter Henry.
Drake May's been loving that guy.
Yeah, for sure. And even Tyler Conklin on the other side, he's unfortunately he had 10 points last week versus Pittsburgh, 4 targets, 4 catches. I get he only had 7 yards.
7 yards.
But he had a touch. Yeah, 4 catches, 7 yards. He had a real Wan'Dale Robinson type game. But he had a tutty, so he has a chance to be a startable tight end on the week if you need to. But there's no buys this week, so there is a lot of upside on the tight end market right now.
Yeah.
For the first time all year. I just said there's a lot of upside on the tight end market this week.
All of our tight ends are healthy, looking good, ready to go. So something is going to happen.
Let's go, baby. Yep.
They're all going to... Nick Vinette's going to be tight end 1 this week for the Tennessee
Titans. Fucking Will Dissly, baby.
God. I'm going to Jets here in a very low-scoring game with no real... I don't even think Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson put up a ton of fantasy points this week either.
If they do, it's a touchdown, probably.
Not going to bench those guys, though.
No, good God, no. You can't have them on your bench and have them go off, God forbid.
Let's talk about a game that's going to have a ton of fantasy points. The Philadelphia Eagles travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Bengals are 3-point home favorites and over-under of 48. This is going to be a great football game. 2 defenses with talented guys, but they're both bad defenses.
For sure.
And then 2 great offenses.
Yeah.
Devonta Smith, your start of the week. Dallas Goedert's looking like he's not playing, so I like that. A.J. Brown's obviously a lock in your lineup. Saquon Barkley, you're locking him in. Jalen Hurts as well. Same with Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, lock. T. Higgins, lock. Jamar Chase, lock. And I might fuck around with Chase Brown, but I would try not to. But if I had to, I'm comfortable with him. Not Zach Moss, though.
No, Zach Moss I'm out on starting. He's almost hit the Gus Edwards point where you can just cut him almost. He only has 2 green matchups for the rest of the year, so it's not even like you can matchup start Zach Moss. He's almost to the point where I'm cutting him. Chase Brown, I'm trying to find a way out this week.
Yeah. Him or Ramondre?
Real bad matchups for both. Give me Chase Brown. He's been a little bit better consistently.
I agree. And Zach Moss isn't going to steal a ton, whereas like Jermichael Hasty and Antonio Gibson are both vulturing, passing game work from Ramondre.
Yeah,
Chase Brown also has touchdown upside. Like he scores.
Yeah.
Like he's found the end zone, I think, 3 of the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, and versus Philly, it's a good run defense, but he can very easily get into the end zone. He's had 3 of the last 4 weeks, Didn't have one last week, but 3 weeks before that, he's had tutties.
Yep. Yeah. So
this game's gonna be a blast, dude. I'm so excited to see these offenses ball out.
Oh, I think the listeners know who you're picking, and they're gonna know who I'm gonna pick.
Yeah, for sure.
You're taking the Eagles.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I think it's actually
I'm taking the Bengals.
I think it's actually a little bit disrespectful that the Eagles aren't even like favorite. I get they're on the road.
Disagree. I think the Bengals are a better football team.
No, definitely not.
I do. I think they win this game.
We're not doing this again, dude.
I think they cover. I think they cover by 3.
No, I disagree. I think Philly wins by. Oh, I think they win by a touchdown.
They win by 4.
No, I would take Philly.
But I do think
I'm actually gonna smash that bet right after we're done recording here. Yeah. Taking Philly for sure.
And I'm going quarterback. I think Joe Burrow is the better quarterback, and I think that's why they're going to win the game.
The better pure quarterback, sure.
Trey Hendrickson's been blowing up, and Jalen Hurts, he's mobile, but he can't throw on the run. He's got stiff hips.
So, he can't throw to the right or the left. He can't throw to the one side. He can always throw to the one. He's got to get him rolling to the left or some shit.
Yeah. So
the only downside is Mulata's not playing. I'm pretty sure Mulata's out, and the line it's rough without Mulata. As a Giants fan, I get it. Andrew Thomas, him being out has imploded our offensive line, so I get it firsthand.
Yeah.
Luckily, Lane Johnson's back. He came back last week, so their line is getting healthy.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game, though, and
I
do think it's just a matter. It's classic Cincinnati, terribly slow starters, and then they get hot, and I think we're getting to that point. They've won 2 in a row. I think we're seeing them going to go on a little tear here.
We'll see. 2 in a row versus the Giants in Cleveland. So
start your guys.
Oh yeah,
but the defense looked good those 2 games. So that's where I think the defense is starting to improve. So we'll see if that was a matchup thing or if they're actually doing this is the test for Cincinnati.
For sure. Yeah, and even for Philly too. Like this is a test for both teams for sure.
Yeah, because I say Cincinnati plays their competition, but they haven't beaten those better teams yet. They should have beaten Baltimore, Kansas City. That was a toss-up. They lost that game. But Baltimore, they should have won. They didn't. So play a good team and finish them off. That's what Cincinnati has to do here. They can't do the play to them and then keep them in the game and have them win.
Yeah, this game actually has pretty big upside because you don't think Philly's as good as I think they are, and I don't think Cincinnati's as good as you think they are. So there's a real chance that these teams can go out here and prove both of us right, both of us wrong. And I'm very interested to see how this game plays out for sure.
Atlanta, Tampa Bay, Falcons on the road, 2.5-point road favorites. Over under 46.
This game had a chance to be so fucking good.
It still can. Baker is a gunslinger. That guy loves to just huck it, chuck at football. But
I just meant fantasy wise,
not having his 2 studs does hurt. But I think this is still going to be a good football game. I think Baker's a good enough quarterback that he's going to keep Tampa in games despite the injuries.
But watch this game with Evans and Godwin out there for it's a division game, so the teams are going to be playing harder regardless. So it just hurts, and no Bucky Irvin, I'm pretty sure either. So the whole Bucs offense is pretty much in shambles at this point. It's K-Dot and then a couple unproven receivers. And they also have White.
Rashad White's still there. But these 2 teams did play a few Thursdays ago, and it was a great game. Bucky Irving is trending towards playing. He logged a practice today. It looks like he's going to play.
No, he did not practice today.
Oh, the report I read 60 minutes ago, Bucky Irving trending well.
Now, 3 hours ago, Bucky Irving Toe officially non-participant at Tampa's practice Thursday.
So now we just have 2 different reports. Okay, we'll see. We'll monitor that. Because I think Bucky Irving would have been a good play because I think Rashad White gets involved more in the pass game without Godwin, and I think Bucky plays more of the running back role here until they get this situated. But if Bucky Irving's out, Rashad White is an incredible play, and Sean Tucker.
He's amazing.
I think Sean Tucker would be a decent flex guy because they're going to need a guy to carry the true running back role, and he would be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But Atlanta is good at stopping the run, so I wouldn't be trying to put Sean Tucker in, but he's a guy to keep an eye on if Bucky Irving is out.
Yeah, up until halftime last week, all 3 of these guys had 5 carries each. So Tucker was still involved, and then the other 2 just took advantage of the hot hand. So if Bucky Irving doesn't play, Tucker is flexible, but White is an amazing start if no Bucky.
Yeah, and then I'm cool throwing a shot with Jalen McMillan.
Yep.
Maybe Sterling Shepard, but I if I'm going to play a Bucs receiver, I think it's McMillan.
I agree. I would go McMillan. I am very interested on Trey Palmer because our home league, we have a Bucks fan, and he put the fab on Palmer, and I put the fab on McMillan just as a toss-up. I just wanted to be in the hunt, and I ended up with McMillan. I'm very interested to know why he went with Palmer over McMillan. I'm going to have to shoot him a text after the pod.
Yeah. Could be a gut thing. I haven't heard anything. I know they've been trying to ease Trey Palmer back in. He was banged up early on. And, like, he provides way more upside than Sterling Shepard. Like, no disrespect to Sterling Shepard, but
I agree.
He's older, and he's Baker's guy, but I do think this offense, I think K. Dotton's a great start. Rashad White's a great start. I'm cool with Jalen McMillan. And then from Atlanta, I would stream Kirk Cousins. Like, I would start Kirk Cousins over Jared Goff this week. Kirk Cousins' best game this year came against Tampa Bay. We saw what Lamar Jackson did against them, 5 touchdowns. And then Bijan, he's on a heater. You keep him in. Bucks got ripped up by Derrick Henry. And then Drake London and Darnell Mooney, I think, are both great starts this week. Drake London, obviously, and Kyle Pitts. I'm starting all my Falcons.
Kyle
Pitts is a great floor
Mooney,
play now, and it's wild.
I agree. Pitts is a lock at tight end. He's been very reliable the last week. Bijan's heater's been, it's about time, dude. I'm very excited to see Bijan this week. I want more Mooney, though. Like, he had that hot game versus Tampa 2-3 weeks ago, and it's been pretty lackluster since, and it's been all green matchups, too. So Drake London and Kyle Pitts are really taking advantage. You think so?
Like, look what Rashad Bateman and Darnell Mooney are similar players, and Bateman just ripped them up. So I would expect a big deep shot here for Mooney this week. Even if he finishes with 1 catch for 50 yards and a touchdown, you're going to be fine with that.
That's true. Very Jameson Williams-esque game.
Yeah, but I'm comfortable starting Darnell Mooney. Who are you picking here?
Oh, man, I would have went Tampa Bay if they had both their weapons, being Godwin and Evans, but I'm a shoot Atlanta. Take the advantage in the division.
I'm also going with the Falcons.
Cool.
The Arizona Cardinals travel to Miami, and they take on the Dolphins. And the betting lines indicate that Tua Tagovailoa is playing because the Miami Dolphins are 4.5-point favorites, and over-under of 46.
Mm-hmm. He had a full practice today, so Tua is for sure on track to play.
I hope he's healthy. I hope he's okay.
I agree. Yep.
I personally don't want to play him just because of the risk. Like, I want to see it before I'm putting him back in my lineup. But
it's a good matchup.
If desperate times, like I'm in this situation in that dynasty, like I said, I currently have Jameson, but I have Tua. So come Sunday, I might make that switch. But Arizona's the perfect team for him because they can't pressure anybody. So
yeah,
who knows how much pressure they're getting on Tua Tagovailoa, and they're traveling to the East Coast off a Monday night win, so a short week for them. So maybe things fall in line, but you now could comfortably start your Dolphins players and not just be like,
dude,
I hope they break it for a touchdown.
Yeah, and
it's like a terrible defense.
Yeah. There were a ton of leagues where I had to slide. I had to cut Ayuk in a bunch of leagues, moving the IR and keeper leagues and whatnot. And I have Waddle in a ton of leagues, and I comfortably am like, I can just slide Waddle in. I'm not worried about the quarterback matchup. Tua's back. Hill's going to be great. Waddle's going to be great. It's just going to open up the run game for Achane, and Mostert hopefully can get hot again. Mm-hmm. This opens up the whole Miami offense again, dude. I'm so happy to see Tua back.
Yeah. And Jonnu Smith's had 8 targets the last 2 weeks, but he's only playing 40% of the snaps, so I don't know how much of that's just Huntley and Boyle and Skylar Thompson, but monitor him. But I don't think he's going to be too involved. I think this is more Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are taking over. Devon Achane's going to get back involved in the passing game. Yeah. And Mostert. It's going to be nice to actually watch the Dolphins at full strength because it's a fun football team. And I've called Arizona in the offseason Miami West. So I can't wait for that. I hope Arizona comes out and they're just trying to stretch the field as well. Hit Marv on, quick plays instead of just trying to scheme him open downfield. Mm-hmm. So, you're going to start him, even though he hasn't been great. He's been fine. It's a draft position thing. Obviously, this was your gripe with Marvin Harrison. You're drafting at wide receiver 10. Yeah. So, and that's a tough thing for a rookie to do. So, he's wide receiver 30 this year. So, he's been okay. James Conner's been great. You're locking him in. He's an RB1. Miami struggles against the run. Yeah. They've been great against quarterbacks and receivers, but that's because you haven't had to pass on them because their team's been so bad. Mm-hmm. That's more of an indication of the offense being inept without Tua. He's back, so it's going to change things in terms of matchup-wise for them.
Yeah, if Arizona's going to want to win this game, they're going to have to score 21 points. That's gonna be the mark for Miami. They always play, if we score 21 points, we're in a really good spot. And with Tua out on this field, there's a real good chance Hill gets that touchdown. He's gonna have a huge play. It's what he does with Tua. Achan's gonna open up the run game. I'm really excited for this. And like you said, Connor's been running great, dude. So Arizona has a chance to hang in here with Miami.
Yeah, and against the Chargers, Connor, he had the backfield. DeMarco had like one carry. Trey Benson had none.
Yeah.
Arizona needs to get Trey McBride a touchdown, get him more involved. Like, the offense is real finicky. I don't know what's going on there. You're starting McBride, you're starting Marv, you're starting James Conner. Would you willing to take a flyer on Michael Wilson?
You can in deep leagues because there's a chance it's a shootout. But I would try to find other people. Ridley's the number one. He's going to eat up targets.
Yeah, agree. Kyler Murray, he's been good, fine. Like, he's had big games and a few duds. You're obviously starting him. You're not looking to wait out for Kyler Murray. But remember, Call of Duty's out, so the running jokes, Kyler Murray is bad during Call of Duty. So if they lose this game, like, that's what everybody's going to go with. I am going to pick the Dolphins, though.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Miami. But let's quick play a little game here of how many touchdowns does Trey McBride have out on the year?
0. 1. He recovered a fumble for a touchdown.
There you go. He has 1 touchdown on the year, and it's a fumble recovery. It's not even a fucking receiving touchdown, dude. So, like, get this man involved in the red zone. Like, he's your tight end. He's a big body. You got to feed this guy a rock, dude. He's not just so good, dude.
He's not just like this unathletic dude you're plugging at tight end like Zach Ertz. Like, this is a legit athlete. Like, get the ball in his hands. Same with, like, Dalton Kincaid in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But, man, Zach Ertz used to be a real athlete in Philly. Dude. Zach Ertz was legit.
Not right now. He's a catch the ball and go down.
He's 42 years old, dude. He's old as hell.
He's like 31.
He's like, that's insane if that's true. It's kind of like watching Jason Witten at the end of his career, baby. He's out here just making
Jason
real
Witten
clean
was
cuts.
40 years old. Zach Ertz is 33.
Okay.
All right.
But
we're both
he
picking
just
Miami.
runs short, clean routes, dude. Like, he just knows how to separate.
He's fine.
Miami, dude.
Yeah.
For sure, Miami.
Speaking of Buffalo, I brought up Dalton Kincaid. They go to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. They are 3-point road favorites and over under of 47. This game should be great, too. This should be another shootout.
Yep.
Seattle's defense bad against tight ends, so hey, Buffalo, let's get Dalton Kincaid involved. I know he's got a collarbone injury, but like for the love of God, get this dude a touchdown. Like, he just doesn't score touchdowns, and like, I don't understand why, because he's incredibly talented. Amari Cooper, another week in this offense, good matchup. You're gonna play him. It's then, do you take a flyer on Keon Coleman or Khalil Shakir?
I think they're more startable than Calvin Ridley since we're just using him as a line. I would be more comfortable in Shakir over Coleman,
especially in PPR with Shakir. He could still get
up
8 targets and he'll catch all of them because he's got
exactly.
Great hands, some of the best hands in football. And Buffalo loves working those underneath routes, and that's where he's going to thrive. Like, getting Amari Cooper, I think, is actually better for Khalil Shakir's stock.
I agree. Because Cooper just locks up corners. Like, he eats up coverage because he's so good, dude. Like, Cooper is a legitimate number 1 in any offense. So Shakir should be getting these under routes, quick and out of bounds routes. But Keon Coleman, though, is the big threat. If he gets loose once, dude, you're looking at a good game on your bench. That is the fear with Keon Coleman.
How does Amari Cooper get the nickname the Route Runner? That's his nickname. He give that to himself. How has no other receiver ever been called the Route Runner?
Because I remember
that's literally all their jobs.
Nah, but Cooper coming out of Alabama, he runs every route smooth as hell. He's almost like Roma Dunze, dude. Yeah, he can run any route on the book.
And Steph Diggs, they've been playing longer. How'd they not get that nickname? How did Amari Cooper just claim this? He's just like, I'm the Route Runner. That's my nickname. I've trademarked it, brother. That is my nickname. The Route Runner. I love it. Like, it's so.
That's a good name.
Yeah, I'm the Route Runner.
It almost sounds like a Batman villain.
That's the Route Runner.
I'm the Route Runner, and Batman's like, the fucking what, dude? I'm the Route Runner. Okay.
Give me a comic spoof with the Eagles Batmans, and then Amari Cooper's the villain as the Route Runner.
Swole Batman.
Seattle, though, or James Cook. You're starting James Cook, obviously. You're locking him in.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be interested to see.
He's been healthy, right?
Where Ray Davis's workload falls. Like, he got a lot of garbage time stuff. So we'll see. Mm-hmm. Keep an eye on how many snaps he plays. Because if he does start vulturing touchdowns from James Cook, then you might be a little weird. James Cook might not be an RB1 going forward. He might be an RB2. Speaking of RB1s, though, Kenneth Walker, that guy's a superstar. Dog. He's ill, but he looks like he's going to play. You're locking him in. DK Metcalf probably not playing. So I'm willing to go with Lockett and JSN.
He hasn't practiced Wednesday or Thursday. He said he's sitting out. But he was week to week, but there's a chance he's out there this week. Just as I'm not saying I'd start him, but if DK plays, you have to play him. He's the Dez Bryant thing. Whoa, Dez Bryant's not playing, but then he's playing. He's a decoy. But the kind of guy DK is, he could have 2 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. Like, DK, I'm sorry, DK if he plays.
That's tough. Buffalo's really.
I'm not
going to
let DK on my bench. Yeah, I get it.
I have DK Metcalf in my money league, where my other receivers are Tank Dell, AJ Brown, and Jaden Reed, and I think I'd play all 3 of those guys.
Tank Dell would be rough, but
I also have Raheem Mostert I can put in my flex spot too. And
so you have options. Play. Well, if DK Metcalf plays, would you start him over Calvin Ridley?
Yes. I'll take the 3 targets potentially if he's just out there running routes over the 8 and possible 1 catch that Calvin Ridley gets.
Yeah. Any target DK Metcalf sees is going to be better than any target Calvin Ridley sees.
Yes. Noah Fant, no buys, no need to stream that guy.
No, I'm good.
And Zach Charbonnet with Walker back, he's pretty much irrelevant as well. Yep. But if DK doesn't play, even if DK plays, how do you feel about Lockett and JSN? Like, Buffalo's a bad matchup against receivers. Like, Buffalo's really good against stopping the pass.
Yeah, for sure. I think their ceiling isn't there this week, but they do have pretty good floors, I think. Even with DK, if he plays, I think both guys have a good chance to finish 5 for 50, 5 for 60. So you're not looking at huge games, but you're looking at really good benches or really good points from your flex spots, like 11, 12 points. And then maybe if one of them gets in the end zone, you're lucky. Then you're sitting at an 18-point game on your flex. So,
and then Geno Smith?
Flexible, for sure.
Him or Patrick Mahomes? Mahomes is playing the Raiders.
You're hitting home in our home league. We have a guy that actually has both of these guys. Give me Mahomes.
Mahomes against the Raiders. I agree.
Yeah. He burned me last week on my start of the week, but
if the matchup was better, I would play Geno.
I agree. If Geno was playing like a real good matchup, I'd go him over Mahomes. So for sure.
I'd have them close together. I don't think it's crazy that he's starting Geno over Patrick Mahomes.
No, I agree. I think it's actually reasonable because I know how upset he is at Patrick Mahomes. So, hey, man, I get it. Mahomes, he's not finishing QB1 very often. We got to understand,
so. Patrick Mahomes is just a great real-life quarterback, and he's not doing it fantasy.
This season's very similar to a year where Brady never finished top 12. Like, Brady had those years where he was good, but he also had those years where he was just a middle-of-the-pack fantasy quarterback because they're just out there playing really clean offense and they don't have to score a bunch. Yep. And that's what Kansas City's doing right now. Like, their running backs are dominating. So
yeah, no matter who's been back there has been good. Buffalo or Seattle, who wins this game?
Gonna be a shootout, boy. Give me Buffalo, though.
I'm also going Buffalo. So is our only difference so far?
I was going to say,
Philadelphia and Cincinnati. Philadelphia and Cincinnati, which makes sense.
Fair enough.
New Orleans travels to the Chargers and takes on LA, or goes to LA to take on the Chargers. There we go. Chargers are 7-point home favorites and over under of 41. J.K. Dobbins, my start of the week. Lock him in. And this is going to sound insane. This team really misses Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, you seen it last week. Like, Herbert had a ton of yards, but they just could not get the ball moving through, like, when it mattered. Like, they were getting these yards, but they could not finish drives. They almost looked at the Giants' offense.
Yeah, like, and hey, good for Quentin Johnston, because after last season, everyone was just, that guy's cheeks, like, he's ass. Like, nothing to do with him. He's a bust. Already washed away. And he's been good this year. And like him missing from this offense, the offense isn't like finishing drives. And he's been the touchdown guy. Like Ladd McConkey's been okay. Josh Palmer has not lived up to any expectation I saw out of him. And then the rest of their receivers are just dudes off the street who aren't good.
Yeah.
So, but like this team, it's just J.K. Dobbins for me. I'm not willing to start Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ladd's decently better when Cuge is on the field. Cuge isn't practicing yet, so he's probably not going to suit up. So yeah, it's just JK for me for sure. What about
and then New Orleans?
What about Will Dissly?
No buys. So no streaming tight ends for this guy. And then New Orleans, it's just Alvin Kamara. Is Chris Olave playing? I haven't heard anything.
Chris Olave is practicing full practice. I mean, so he's in line.
You're gonna put him in your lineup. I think he's a wide receiver 3 this week. Just because I just don't think Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener, or whoever's going to play, or if they split time between the two of them, do much. You just got to hope Olave gets in the end zone. But
it's going to be Rattler first. He's logging full practices with the first team. So, but there's a chance he gets benched. It happened last week. Yeah. So give me Jake Haener, dude.
Yeah. Let me see what Jake Haener's
my
got.
boy. I agree.
Yeah. I'm going the Chargers here. I would start both teams' defense. There you go. Defenses for this game. Fine.
Kamara got paid after our recording on Tuesday. It was a 2-year, $24 million deal. Yeah, it was immediately after. I looked at my phone. So he did get extended for 2 more years in New Orleans, so he's tied there. I'm glad he got paid, dude. That's fun.
Yeah. But yeah, it's your running backs and Chris Olave, and that's it. And I'm going with the Chargers in this game. I don't know. It's going to be an ugly, low-scoring game. Kansas City travels to Vegas. They take on the Raiders. The Chiefs are 9.5-point road favorites. An over-under of 41.5.
That's crazy.
DeAndre Hopkins, like we said at the top of the show, now a Kansas City Chief. He is going to play.
Yep.
I would flex him. I would.
I agree.
I think you could take the shot on him and hope he gets a touchdown. Like Kansas City, I imagine, will scheme a play for him in the red zone that gets him in for a score. Kareem Hunt has been incredible. Just off the street. He was another guy. Like I brought up J.K. Dobbins. I didn't bring up that Kareem Hunt smoked Kansas City his first game back.
Oh, yeah.
Or smoked New Orleans. But he's been great for the Chiefs. I think he's a lock. You're going to start Travis Kelce, even though he's been hit or miss here. And I would start DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not willing to do anything with Worthy or whoever else they're fielding. And then Pat Mahomes is, a streaming quarterback. Like, you're not... I hold him in the same range as Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, and Geno Smith.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like it's Kareem Hunt's going to be eaten all day. Kelce might have a big game just based off matchup, but Hopkins is the receiver I'm really excited for on this team right now. He's going to be getting the short work, and that's where he really shines. I think he actually has a chance to open up Mahomes a lot here, fantasy wise.
Yeah, and then. For Vegas, it's Brock Bowers. That's it.
Hell yeah, baby.
Not fucking around with Alexander Madison this week.
Not versus Kansas City. Chris Jones is going to eat him up, dude.
Yeah. And Kansas City's been really good. Casey's been really good at scheming guys out. So it could... Brock Bowers is the only guy on that offense.
Yeah, so it's going to be hard to scheme him out. Alexander Madison, the only way he has a game is an Alexander Madison game. Like he has 20 yards and a touchdown, dude. At the same stat line came out of our mouths. 20 yards and a touchdown for Alexander Madison. So it's not going to be a fun game, I don't think, to be honest.
No. Yeah, Vegas is going to get smoked. I don't think it's going to be close. I would say Kansas City. Maybe they don't cover and they just win this game like Detroit does, like 17-0. Yeah,
exactly.
But, I just got to hope Brock Bowers gets a ton of targets because really he's the only piece in Vegas at this point.
It's going to be him.
Forward.
Let me quick shoot back. I forgot to bring this up to our last game. Dennis Allen, since we both hate this man, out of his how many starts has he had? I did have it up here. I think it was 71 starts, 77 coaching games in the NFL. How many times has he beaten a winning team, like a winning record team? He has 26 wins in the NFL.
0.
3. He has 3 wins against
were they
winning
1-0?
record teams. There you go. One of them was a 1-0 Seahawks team, and the other 2 games were teams led by Garner Minshew. He's beaten Garner Minshew twice. The dude is a dog shit coach. Fire that man. Get that man out of the NFL. He has 3 wins against winning record teams. He's dog shit, dude. Get this man gone.
That is somehow worse than winning 0.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. A 1-0 Seahawks team and then Garner Minshew twice.
Yep.
You're trash, dude. Dennis Allen, you're dog shit. Get out of here.
I don't even know if New Orleans is that good of a gig if he gets fired. Like, I wouldn't want to coach that team.
It's really not. Yeah. It's always been a kind of messy in New Orleans to begin with. And they really don't have much, dude. Like Chris Olave hasn't panned out to be
Drew
the guy.
Brees for the next 12 years. They just love kicking money down the road. That's how they're extending all these people with the fake salary cap. You know, Kamara's getting this money in 2045.
That is a good point. I remember before they cut Mike Thomas, he was due like $52 million the 1 year unless they cut him.
It's I don't know what.
New Orleans is a mess, dude. It's crazy.
Like them in Carolina, like what bad situations. Like I feel for David Allen. I don't feel for Dennis Allen. Like he's scumbag.
Dennis Allen's a dog shit coach. But Carolina's a tricky situation because of the owner. Like their owner's insane.
Yeah. Speaking of Carolina, they're next. They go to Denver and take on Sean Payton, who
look at that. Yeah,
that's Dennis Allen's guy. The Broncos are 10-point favorites at home and over under a 41.5. Andy Dalton's not playing. He and his family were in a car accident. Everyone's fine. He's just got a sprained thumb. So this isn't a benching situation. Like Bryce Young didn't get his job back. He could get his job back if he plays well.
That is true.
He's probably not. This is a great defense, even without Patrick Surtain.
Yeah.
Denver's defense should score position player points this week.
Oh, yeah. Denver's defense is going to have a field day with Bryce Young out there. I feel really bad for fucking Deontay Johnson owners, dude. They got a little bit of light with Andy Dalton, and now Bryce Young has come back with a giant blanket and is like, nope, cover that light back up, baby. He's going to have 1 target for 0 catches, dude.
And Adam Thielen's practice window opened back up, so he could play, and that's nice. That's Bryce Young's guy. Bryce Young loves Adam Thielen.
Very true.
So, hopefully, though, this is just 1 week of Bryce Young, and then Andy Dalton's back the following. Even though Andy Dalton hasn't been great, he makes the offense at least, competitive. Like they're a confident offense. He
makes these guys at least startable.
Yeah.
Which is what you need.
And Chuba Hubbard takes a hit, but I'm still going to play him just because he's been doing so well. You're going to keep him in and just hope he scores a touchdown, gets them their 1 touchdown. Denver side, Javonte Williams, great play. Keep an eye on the receivers. I would roster Troy Franklin, even look at Devon Vele, but I would put Troy Franklin on a roster before Vele. And Cortland Sutton, who knows what's going on with him. If you want to take the shots, I personally wouldn't. But Bo Nix is a fine play in a super flex league. He's got incredible leg work, and he's got wheels. He's been moving. But it's for me, it's Javonte only, and then just how the receiving game works out there in Denver.
I agree. Javonte, my start of the week, so I'm happily starting him. And yeah, dude, Troy Franklin should be rostered 2 back-to-back games with double digits in full PPR leagues. So it's looking like he's going to be the new target going forward. With Cortland Sutton didn't even have a catch last week. So I think he's on the out. That is true, yeah. I think he's on the way out. I brought it up Tuesday. I think he's going to be in Pittsburgh by the deadline. I think he's going to be the guy they end up targeting.
Oh, so he could fix the Jets.
Oh, that is true. I hear the Jets are in the market for another receiver. It's going to fix all their problems.
That's going to be my new favorite bit. That guy could fix the Jets.
That guy, he could probably fix the Jets. He's a good receiver.
Denver wins this game?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not confident in Bryce Young.
Chicago travels to Washington to take on the Commanders. The Bears are 3-point favorites on the road and over under 43.5 points. The betting line tells me that Jaden Daniels isn't playing because I think if he was playing Washington, he would be favored at home against Chicago. So if it's Mariota, he looked good last week, but the Bears defense is legitimate.
A different game. It's a different game, dude.
So we'll see how that goes. So even with Jaden Daniels, if he does play, like the Washington pass catchers are a little iffy. Like you're going to start Terry McLaurin just because he's been playing so well, but temper expectations with him. And then you Brian Robinson, he's been an RB2 all year. You start him. I think Eckler's a fine flex play as well.
Yep, I agree. You nailed it.
And then Chicago, DeAndre Swift continues to be great. He should be a lock in your lineup. Insane thing to say, considering I wrote that guy off. But he's been a top RB the last 2 weeks. Now, let's not forget that he was on fire before that bye week. Caleb Williams, my start of the week, I think he's a great play. Same with DJ Moore. DJ Moore should have a great game as well. So that's really where do you stand on Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze?
I'm in on Keenan Allen. He had a huge game versus Jacksonville before the bye. He had 5 for 41 and 2 tutties. I think he has a real good opportunity to get in the end zone again. Washington's defense is very prone to let up passes. And Keenan Allen, man, he's not the route runner, but he runs clean routes.
Yeah. And then Cole Kmet, I would also lock him, and he's been a top 5 tight end all year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Cole Kmet's a start. Zach Ertz is also flexible.
Yeah.
Not pretty, but...
Yeah. Rome Odunze or Calvin Ridley?
Rome. Give me Rome.
Rome? Okay, I would go Ridley.
Give me Rome. Fuck that. Man. If Daniels plays, give me Washington. If not, give me Chicago. I'll stick with my guy.
I'm picking the Bears regardless.
Good defense.
It's disgusting. Yeah. Sunday Night Football. The Dallas Cowboys go to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. Niners are 4.5-point favorites at home and over under a 47. What a gross Sunday night game. Both
currently all in the IR.
The vibes for both these teams are not great right now.
Sunday night, Monday night, both gross games.
Ayuk out for the year. No ACL, MCL.
That sucks,
and that's gonna hurt him going into next year because those are 2 different surgeries and 2 different rehab situations. So I'm out on Ayuk for next season as well, which is a shame because he got paid. So now it's just he's going to be the butt of the jokes there. Deebo Samuel didn't practice. He's out of the hospital, thankfully. George Kittle hadn't practiced, but I don't think George Kittle has practiced at all this year. He's just living life.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's just vibing, dude.
Yeah, and then Juwan Jennings also not practicing. The only healthy receiver on this roster is Ricky Pearsall, and he was shot 2 months ago.
Dude, that's insane. That guy got shot in the chest 2 months ago, and he's back before Christian McCaffrey's hamstring.
Yes, that guy still not playing.
That's a crime. I miss that guy so much.
Yeah, and then Brock Purdy, he's been fine. He's been okay. He's been a QB1 in fantasy. He was saved by his 2 rushing touchdowns last week. He did have 3 turnovers. I'd still be willing to play him. And Dak Prescott, he's been the opposite. He's been bad this year. So it's a matter of you willing to still hitch your wagon to Dak Prescott, or are you moving on? Are you gonna Geno Smith or Dak Prescott?
Dak
going
Prescott.
forward.
I think Dak's a really good get for the rest of the year.
What about this week?
I don't know who that was.
I'm
sorry, I'm trying to watch this game. I'm so sorry. I'm distracted. I got a lot of Rams, so yeah, that's big. What was the question? I'm so sorry.
Geno Smith or Dak this week? Week.
Geno this week.
I agree.
But I think Dak has a real good chance to pull what he did last year. It's all good matchups.
He does.
And they had their bye, so I would honestly take him over Purdy too the rest of the year. And Purdy's a QB1 on the year, but Dak's not. But I would take Dak over Purdy.
Okay. And yeah, I get that because everybody's injured in San Francisco, so who knows when anyone's going to get healthy. So I would understand trying to move on from Purdy. If you had him and you could sell him to the Dak Prescott owner for a trade, I think that's a decent move. But also, I think Brock Purdy will be fine fantasy wise. I think they're going to be passing a ton, and he should be. Yeah, but you got to figure out Brock Purdy's not going to be what he was last year, this super efficient quarterback, because now it's on his shoulders now because the run game's been fine, but Jordan Mason, not Christian McCaffrey, and now no Brandon Ayuk. Who knows what's going on with Deebo? I think once Deebo gets back on the field, he's a great play. If you can go out and trade for him, I think he's going to be a superstar the rest of the year. He could win you a league.
I agree. If you could somehow pull the trigger on Deebo, Kittle, or even McCaffrey, I'm telling you to go do that. Try to get those guys because they're going to thrive when they're back just because of how the offense rolls. Those guys are all going to be locks when they're all healthy. But I think Purdy's going to be struggling without all these guys.
Luckily for Brock Purdy, Micah Parsons probably not playing this week. Mike Zimmer's got the Dallas defense looking in terrible shape, so I'm picking the Niners.
In classic Mike Zimmer form, baby. Give me Dallas.
Okay. Jordan Mason, you're going to play him. I would play Debo if he's out there. You're obviously playing Kittle if he's out there too. I don't think Kittle's going to miss the game. He's
not going to miss this game. He's not going to miss Dallas.
I'm not sure I would take a flyer on Ricky Pearsall or Jawan. If Jawan Jennings is out there, I'll take the flyer on him. If he's out, I'm not sure I'm going to put Ricky Pearsall in my lineup. And then Dallas, it's CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson. I guess you could flex Rico Dowdle, but I would try not to this matchup just because of how good the Niners defense is at stopping the run.
Yeah, I agree. If Debo and Jennings are both out, I think I would be comfortable starting Pearsall.
Then I'm playing Pearsall. But if one of them's there, I'm out on Ricky.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And you're taking Dallas. Obviously, you're starting Ferguson and Lamb. Rico Dowdle or Ramondre Stevenson?
Rico Dowdle, Ramondre Stevenson. Oh, man. Bad matchup for both again. Give me Rico, though. Give me Rico. I think he's got better upside.
Same situation as the last one I asked for Ramondre comparison. It's the fact that I'm not worried about Ezekiel Elliott taking valuable carries or touches away from Rico Dowdle.
Yeah.
All right. Monday Night Football. New York Giants travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The Steelers are 6-point home favorites. An over-under? What do you think it is?
39.5.
Oh, 36.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you're going to start Pittsburgh's defense. No Andrew Thomas. Then the Giants just can't stop anybody without him.
Dude, it's going to be bad.
Yep, TJ Watt should have a field day. Get ready for him to skyrocket.
Defense is a great start.
To the favorite betting odds for the Defensive Player of the Year if he still isn't.
Yeah, there's a good chance he has 4 sacks this week.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's offense, Russell Wilson, passing game, a little more, productive than they were with Justin Fields. So I would play George Pickens. And that's it from the pass game. I'm not willing to fuck around with Freiermuth anymore because last week it was Darnell Washington played as much as he did. So
exactly, and our defense is better than our defense is legit. Yeah. So I'm just going Pickens. We have good secondary. We have good defensive line. So Najee should be in line for a decent game, but it's going to be a tough outing up against Sexy Dexy and Burns on the outside. So yeah, dude, our D line is peak.
Yeah.
Hopefully Sexy Dexy gets some type of talk for Defensive Player of the Year, dude.
You guys are similar to Tampa Bay a few years ago. I think you guys are just a quarterback away from being a really competitive football team.
I would like another receiver to pair. I think Wandale would be much better in the slot with 2 alphas on the outside, kind of like Tampa have Godwin and Evans. But I agree, dude. If we lock in another offensive weapon, give us a quarterback, I think we're going to be decent.
Well, maybe you guys will go out there and sign T. Higgins. Pair him with Malik Neighbors.
I mean, look at the deadline. It's easy to get receivers, so I'm not really worried about it. But I think their draft class is great. We'll get there in the summer, obviously. Mm-hmm. But if we pull the trigger on another receiver and a decent quarterback, the Giants are going to be pretty fun in the division.
Yeah. But Pittsburgh, you're still going to start Najee Harris despite the good run defense for the Giants. Yeah, I would too. He's playing well right now.
Really good games. Yeah.
If you have him, I think he's a good sell high candidate. If you can get somebody piece him in a deal for Deebo Samuel, I would go and do that, or piece him in a deal, get Devon Achane. Or he's also a guy I would try to trade for and get, if I can get him cheap, I'd be looking for that.
I was trying to trade him and Josh Downs before Josh Downs. I was trying to get rid of Josh Downs before I knew Anthony Richardson would ruin him. And I was trying to package him with Najee, just the upside of Najee, but I couldn't find anyone to pull the trigger.
Yeah. And then Giants side, you're obviously starting Malik Neighbors, and that's it.
Yeah, Pittsburgh has a really good pass defense, dude. So Wandale's in for the only way he has a good game is 8 for 30.
Yeah,
it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fun. But
Pittsburgh's corners are more on the average sides in terms of like analytics, but the pass where you guys can't stop anybody, so everything's going to be quick dinks, and then like Wandale can't break a tackle if his life depended on it.
No. Good God, no.
Like, you just got to hope Malik Neighbors takes one to the house. That's the only way the Giants are going to be competitive in this game. And like, I'm not fucking around with Tyron Tracy or Devin Singletary right now. Like, it is a straight split at this point, and like Pittsburgh's defense too good to be out going to get one of those guys. Like maybe Tyron Tracy has like a Breece Hall game where he gets a ton of catches, but that's a narrative I don't want to die on in my lineup, especially on a Monday.
I agree. I'm willing to leave that on my bench with a game where he has 6-7 catches and 25 rushing yards. But yeah, him and Singletary are splitting times, but Neighbors is for sure locked. Like, his upside's too high. I get he only had like 8-9 points in his game back, but it was his first game back and it was versus Philly, dude. Like, Philly's still decent. So I'm comfortably starting Neighbors, but if Pittsburgh scores more than 14, dude, we can't win. Like, we can't score 14 points. It's just not going to happen.
When do the Giants move to Drew Lock? Do you think next week? Okay. Like, because like that's got to be a talk at some point. Like, if you guys just aren't winning games, especially with like the line, like you got to move on. Like, signal the end of Daniel Jones. See if Drew Lock's got anything in there to provide some sort of boost for this team.
He doesn't, but he doesn't need to, because if Danny Jones gets hurt, we have to pay him. It's the Russell Wilson thing where Denver benched Russell Wilson at the back end of the year because, one, they didn't want to win games, and two, they didn't want to pay Russell Wilson because he's gone. Daniel Jones is most likely gone next year. I don't want to pay him. Please sit on the bench for the rest of the year and just steal money from my organization. That's all I'm asking you.
I do like the intrigue of Drew Lock with Malik Neighbors, though, because Drew Lock just loves to just chuck the ball down the field. And if he gets a little bit of time for Malik Neighbors to get up the seam, fucking hit him, that just gets me all worked up, and I love to see it. But we'll see if it happens, because that's not happening with Daniel Jones. It's been all Malik Neighbors carrying him to better performances.
I agree. I think if Drew Lock comes in, it almost takes out Wandale too, though, because he's not really a check down guy. So Wandale would only be looking at like 4 catches most likely, but Malik Neighbors' targets would skyrocket through the roof with Drew. Like, he's getting a lot of looks, but with Drew Lock, dude, he'd be getting looks. That
would likely move Darius Slayton into the number 2 spot there, because it certainly isn't going to be Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah, I agree. Slayton, dude, you know how I've been talking about Slayton for the last 4 or 5 years. He's a good receiver. He's 700 yards a year.
He's fine. Yeah,
he's reliable.
Yep. All right. Pittsburgh wins this game.
Yep.
There we go. All right. Pick'em's done.
How many points? How many points for the game? What do you think they got?
I believe I said over when I did my pick'em on Ziffle. I think I said 39, which was your original over under. So I'm gonna say over.
That is true.
I'm gonna say over.
I would go well under. I think it's gonna be like 17-6.
Okay, you're going like 25 points.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Very low scoring game.
That'll do it. Week 8 recap, or week 8 recap, or in the future. Week 8 preview in the books.
Sound like Scooby-Doo there.
Yeah. That'll do it. Drafted Up podcast. My God, the Vikings touchdowns are just by schmucks. Trent Sherfield.
Yeah.
What a wild world. And Jordan Oliver. Josh Oliver.
Jordan Oliver. Right. Young Dumb.
Yeah. Young Dumb. Young Dumb and broke. He is broke, wrestling-wise. Josh Oliver, he's not going to be on the field soon. T.J. Hawkinson's going to be back next week. Yes.
Yeah, he'll be back next week, baby.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. All right, Drafted Up podcast in the books, guys. We will see you on Tuesday. Like always, enjoy week 8. Should be a good one. Some good games and then some bad games. Like it's a good balance this week. There's some rough ones on the docket.
Everyone's playing, baby.
Everyone's playing though. Yep. And no London games, so you don't got to get up at 9 in the morning and make sure your lineups are
Thank
good to
God.
go.
Yep. So we're good. No 9 a.m. games.
Yep. You know where to find us on Twitter at @DraftedUp_pod. Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We're on those platforms. Search Drafted Up Podcast, like, rate, subscribe, review. And then, word of mouth. We appreciate everything you guys do there for the views here. We do this for you guys, and we're just looking here to have fun, talk about football. That's the goal in life.
Sir. It's always good to talk about football.
All right. That's Nick.
Alrighty,
I'm
y'all.
Theo. This is the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. Adios, guys.
Good luck this week, y'all. Bye.